Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
If you're an entrepreneur and your business is not yet registered, if you're looking to grow your registered business, or you're an accomplished professional, our Elevate program supports you with access to finance, access to markets, access to capacity building. Sign up now or refer a friend at ecobank.com/elevate. Elevate by EcoBank. A better way, a better Africa.
Santa yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Now, we spent a great deal of time this week discussing the competition for political power in the Gambia. Who is aligning with whom? Who will contest the presidency? And what the various political formations are offering the electorate. But this morning, I want us to step back from all of that and ask a different question. What happens if we change the way politics itself is done? In particular, what happens when women and young people are not simply regarded as voters, supporters, campaigners, or people to be mobilized during elections, but as decision makers, organizers, and political leaders in their own right? Well, Unite has presented itself as a party determined to do politics differently. And an important part of that proposition is the role it gives to women and young people. So this morning, we're going to test that proposition. What does it mean in practice? Where is the power? Who makes the decisions? And is Unite actually creating a new generation of Gambian political leadership, or simply giving a new face to some familiar political practices? Joining us is Neneh Freda Gomez. Neneh, welcome to Coffee Time with Peter Gomez.
Good morning, Uncle Peter, and good morning to all your viewers and listeners. It is indeed a pleasure to come here this morning and have a conversation, a chat with your audience.
All right, let's begin with the big picture. When Unite says it is changing the way politics and leadership are done in the Gambia, what exactly is it changing?
Okay, first of all, it's the mindset. First of all, it's the perception. Right? Because it has to start from somewhere. Now, Unite have recognized and acknowledges that there are enormous challenges when it comes to women in politics, women in leadership. But also we have gone to diagnose the issues from the root and acknowledge that we need to start from the grassroots, because that's where everything else starts. When people talk about catch them young, right? We are saying we catch them early. So we go back to the roots and shape everything from there. And when I talk about it, I mean like, okay, in politics, we all know politics has structures. And for far too long, politicians are the only people that are seen are the people at the top. They're the decision makers. They're the ones that influence. They're the ones that make the decisions. And we want to change that. How do we change that? We go back to the roots and build these structures from the grassroots, from the village level, from the ward level, constituency level, region, then to the national. So we do the bottom-top approach, and everybody feels included. So when we build these structures from the village level, we ensure it's a deliberate attempt that women are included from that level. You have the village level, those structures. A woman is like the chairlady of the village structure. You have treasurers. You have auditors. Those positions for far too long are being given to men. And then we all know the women are just the backbenchers, for lack of a better word. And the most common word used in politics and attached to women is mobilizers. Women mobilizers, the Yai campaigns. And women, Unite comes and says, no, women are far better off than just that. Because in everything else a woman leads, it's not too rare. I mean, too often you see it fail and not work. So
when a woman leads.
When a woman leads.
Okay.
Yeah, when a woman leads.
So if we had a woman president, some of the problems we are confronting now, we wouldn't have that.
Absolutely not. I sit here and authoritatively say that things will change. Because this is the thing. Men are good at what they do, but men have the thinking of a specific, as opposed to women who have a thinking of a whole.
Okay.
When
so
women,
what are we men good at? Being corrupt, siphoning money off, or what?
I don't want to sit in front of my uncle and say that.
Your uncle happens to be a man, unfortunately.
And say that. But, I mean, if we look at all the issues, and of course all the leaders we've had, never have we had a woman. It's all men. And the issues just keep repeating. It's like recycling, just putting new wine in old bottle.
Okay.
Right. That's what happened. It hasn't changed.
Just to make sure that you are not inhibited any further, don't see me as your Uncle Peter Gomez. See me as Dr. Ismail Assise. You're conversing with Dr. Ismail Assise.
And who's that? Remind me again.
That's a nice one. Okay. When you say, when you talk of structures, I mean, for those of us who are not conversant with, the political setups, what structures are you talking about?
Okay, because, in politics, you need everybody. We're talking about everybody from wherever the person may be. So to have access to the people, you have to build structures around where the people are and where you want to partake, right? In Unite, we don't even call them followers. We're trying to build believers.
Oh, okay.
People who believe in the project.
Okay, so followers of Unite are believers of Unite.
Believers,
okay.
Yeah. Because when you believe in something, you treasure it, you protect
Absolutely.
it, you safeguard it. And it's not a matter of somebody does something wrong and then you are angry, you leave. You have a sense of ownership and responsibility in whatever you believe in.
So everybody who is a Unite follower, they have this sense of belonging.
Belonging.
Okay.
They are believers, not just followers, or some people we call militants. No, we don't have militants. Yeah. We have believers.
Militant is a strong word, huh?
It is a strong word, and I don't think politicians should be using that,
Absolutely.
To describe their supporters and people who really do the work.
Although some, display militancy. Some
Absolutely.
Some political,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And this is what Unite comes to change. Because we have to change that and make everybody believe that you are not a militant to just sit there and fight and do the hard work, do the dirty work. You have to feel value. You have to be the part of the decision making to influence change.
Okay.
And this is why we're building believers, not followers or sympathizers or militants.
I know when in our flyer we simply described you as deputy leader, you raised, an issue with me to say, well, it's deputy party leader. So the question becomes, where specifically do women exercise real decision-making power within Unite? If I can just call you deputy leader.
Okay, the reason why when you say deputy leader, somebody will ask, deputy leader of what? Okay, because you have several leaders within the party.
Yes.
So, but when you say, deputy party leader, that is specific, right? That, you are the deputy to the party leader, right? When you say deputy leader, I can be a deputy to, let's say, the secretary general. Because in Unite, again, it's not very common in political parties that you separate the party leader from the secretary general. Most parties, what they have is party leader and secretary general.
True.
Those are two powerful positions with, different authorities. It's like combining it and giving it to one person.
Okay.
And because we want to kind of like...
So in your case, we have to say deputy party leader. We cannot just say deputy leader.
Yes, please.
Okay. We've learned from that. Okay, so where in the party do women exercise decision-making?
And again, all across, from every structure, from the village to the national level. Because what we did is, when we have these structures at the village levels, they have control over the governance of the village activities, and it filters down to the national. let's say we have an activity and we're supposed to reach out to one of the villages, let's say in Kachume, for example. We don't just go...
Why did you choose a Manjago town, a Manjago village?
Let's say, okay, let me choose a Cibito in Kiang, right? And again, I love that place because I have a sentimental attachment with the people of Cibito in Kiang. I have a namesake. I do a lot of work with them, you know, because these are underprivileged villages, vulnerable people that because of where they live, access to them is difficult, is a challenge.
Access. I thought Barrow was making, you know, every hamlet in this country accessible.
Uncle Peter, when you go around this country, then you realize that what you see on social media, what is being talked about on these political platforms, it's more like a farce. It's not reality. Oh, wow. But you have to go there and see it yourself. He who feels it knows it, you know.
But it just proves the point that we need roads. So Barrow is on the right track when he is building roads.
We need roads, definitely. But it's not all about roads. Because when you build roads and it doesn't affect the lives and livelihood of the people, then what is the important or the value or the impact of that road?
All right. Let's go back to decision-making and the role of women in that in Unite. Yes.
So I was saying, so when we go into the village, we don't just go and, you know, from the national level or regional and go to a particular village, like you say, either Kachuma or Cibito, and just perform our activities. You know, we have to reach out to those structures. Whoever is responsible, they will have to put themselves in order.
So structures will be what, the ICOMPIN or the party leader, grassroots party leaders?
The grassroots, yeah, exactly. Okay. Like, we can tag those people in the grassroots, like the chair lady or the chairman, as the party leader of the village, because decision lies in them. Yeah, so this is what we do. And now bring it back to the women aspect. It's we encourage women to take up those roles, and they drive and pave the direction of how activities are done in those villages, and it filters down all the way to the top. Now, when you come to the national level, like myself being
exactly,
deputy...
I was going to say the national executive.
Exactly.
Let's say where Talib is there, you know, I mean, sitting at the head of the table. How many women, you know, are in the room with him, and do they have a voice?
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely do. If anybody wants to challenge that, you may ask my colleagues or look at me as an example. That because I'm one person who's not just a deputy party leader as a figure or for the optics like you see in many other places.
So you're not there for cosmetics?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You have to know Neneh to believe that Neneh is not anybody that anybody will silence. I'm one person who strongly believes in my views. I'm very opinionated.
And what about the other women who are not Neneh?
And of course they are. Okay. Of course they are. And, you know, if you ask Talib will say, you know, son, the women I have in my party, sometimes I look at myself and scare if I have to drift away from the values and policies of what sets Unite. Because we are not just there to mince our words. We are not there to just say, yes, sir, yes, sir. We challenge authority to make sure that it is in line.
And do you feel when you challenge, to quote your authority, that the men who are usually seen as the authority, how do they take it? Do you feel that, you know, they go along, or they feel that,
it's not a run.
They are allowing you too much?
It's not a run in the park for us, right? But again, you have to believe in what you're doing. You have to be submerged in the service of the people and believe that women equally can take part and influence the decision making. So we debate, we argue, but at the end of the day, you know, they recognize that maybe our opinions are superior to whatever they are trying to challenge, and they will allow it. And in that, we see ourselves in everything that we do in the party. Okay. And I mean, I'm a deputy party leader, a woman there. You have women in terms of, you know, secretaries. You have women in terms of the legal side, you know, the youth, the women. Of course, when we talk about women mobilizers, I don't like to take that as an example because, of course, national women president, as national women president, is supposed to be a woman. Right? So that's not even a good example to say women are included. But other positions that a man and a woman can compete on that.
Like campaign manager, for instance. Or you don't have campaign manager in your setup? Okay.
We do.
Because most campaign managers, if not all, are men.
Are men. Yeah. But in Unite, we have campaign managers who are men. In Banjul, right, at the region, our campaign manager is a woman.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, exactly. And likewise, many other regions, right? When you come to the constituencies, majority of our constituency chairmen and women are women.
Okay.
So
Very
it's
good.
a deliberate thing that we do in women.
Okay.
For us not to just talk it, but we definitely have to act it.
When you say deliberate, you're saying there's a deliberate target or mechanism within Unite for getting more women into leadership positions.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because, again, this is not my first political party. And engaging with a lot of women...
Which was your first? Citizen Alliance?
There you go.
Don't tell me you forgot the name. Come on, Neneh. Be fair to them.
Wallahi, I forgot.
Goodness gracious. So Dr. Cisse will not watch this interview.
When it comes to good things, I remember. But when it comes to things that I think about and feel ashamed, I detach. So I don't remember. So it's one of them. So basically, it's like we give women the opportunity, right, to vie for positions, whether it is elected or to be nominated, co-opted in certain positions so that they can also feel a part of it. So it's not all about optics.
And you don't think like, I am sure there would be men who would say, oh yeah, look at them here, they're putting women there just to give the impression. In other words, tokenism. You don't feel that Unite is putting women in these positions just because it feels good, it looks good, but that, they are there on merit, purely on merit.
They are there on merit. And I cannot say that for anybody else, because that was not the case for me. The position I have, I contested for it. And it was not like...
And who were your other contestants? Men?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. My other contestants were men for that position. It was not an easy one. It took weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of negotiations. And this is what happens. We call it caucuses in political parties, that you have to sit and negotiate, to avoid getting to elections and things. And those things happen. And I was one person who was advocating for all the other positions that you had women contenders to say, under no circumstances should you allow yourself to be convinced to leave it for another man. And that has, happened throughout, the Congress that we had in
So positions are never given to you on a silver plate?
No.
Okay.
No.
You earn them?
We earn them.
Okay.
We earn them.
All right.
So I was going to say, to go back to these issues of Unite, recognizing, all these challenges. People might call it, problems. But this is also... Unite trying to change the mindset and the perception, not to say these are problems, but challenges. Because when you say a problem, automatically, psychologically, you are limiting yourself to having access to solving it, because already you're thinking it's difficult, because problems are attached to being difficult. But we tell people these are challenges that we need to face head on. And we tell our believers, right, the membership in Unite, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So you have to believe that you can work to change those things. So when you look at in history, in women, in leadership participation, all across, we are shortchanged. And in Gambia, we are not peculiar, but women are the most undertapped resources. And Unite has come to change that. How are we changing that? By giving women what is due to them, allowing them to be out there. We harness the potential in them and unveil them to the world for people to know that women are capable of doing whatever they set out to do.
If a woman within Unite strongly disagrees with a senior male figure, does she have the same freedom on, political space to challenge that person as a man would?
Absolutely, yes. Because in Unite...
Because I'm just assuming if Kemo, your spokesman, Kemo Bojang, spokesperson. These days, men don't like the word spokesperson. Women don't like the word.
Let me tell you something. When I was a spokesperson one time, of the party CA.
Now you remember?
Yeah, because you reminded me earlier on.
Okay, all right. When you were the spokesperson.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was the only one in all the political parties at the time.
Yes.
I did not like to be referred to as spokesperson. I authoritatively asked everybody to refer to me as the spokeswoman.
Woman, okay.
Exactly.
All right. I think
at
that's
least
right.
for that,
I was asking. I'm just assuming if Kemo Bojang or anyone else, in the executive who's a man, had a disagreement with Talib during a meeting, they would go toe to toe like men would. Now, if you had a difference of opinion with Talib, during a meeting, do you feel you'd have that same freedom and political space to express yourself like Kemo would?
In Unite, yes. And I deliberately say in Unite, yes.
Yeah, we're talking about Unite.
Yeah,
we're limiting it just to
exactly.
Unite. Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
CA is in your past, so there's no past.
No, the reason why I say in Unite, yes, because nobody will try to...
Are you suggesting in other parties it wouldn't be the same?
Oh, yeah.
Odd.
Yeah.
The woman wouldn't dare say, raise their voice?
And I say yes, with authority, yes. I know that's why I'm saying that.
And why is this so? Is it because Talib allows you to, challenge him openly?
Talib allows everybody to challenge him. One good thing, he's a listener. He may not agree with you, but he will listen. And he will hear the wisdom you have in your argument. How he uses it now is a different thing. But at least nobody will shut you down.
Okay.
Nobody will intimidate you, or nobody will threaten you to suppress whatever you have to say, whether they like it or not.
Let's turn to the youth. The Gambia is an extraordinarily, young country. Yet young people, go ahead if you want to sip, some tea or whatever, go ahead. Yet young people often complain that political parties remember them only during election time. And after election, their history. Why should a young Gambian believe Unite is any different?
Well, we are very, very different because, Peter, we are barely...
And, when Talib was here, I showed him how young a staff I have, Some of them, would be first-time voters. So
yeah.
why would our, for instance,
yes,
believe that Unite will be any different, that Unite will come to her in 2026? She probably will not see Unite again until 2031.
Unite is different, Uncle Peter, because we're barely a year. But remember, we did not start as a political party. We started as a movement. And may I say, if you look at history, most of the governments that rule in this country started up as movements, right? And Unite is no different. We started up as a movement. And when we started as a movement, even before becoming a political party, we changed the political landscape in the way we do things. And a movement that has emerged within, let's say, 3 weeks, it has now become a subject of discussion on every platform. Everybody was paying attention. There must be something different that we were doing that a lot of people were not doing. And when we emerged, a lot of political parties were still in hibernation. They felt that it was in time. And the belief and mindset, again, that I talked about in the beginning of what we've come to change is they only start activities when it's time for politics. And when we came, we went everywhere, every corner of this country to tell people that we're here to change. And how we change is people don't just have to sit and hold their voter's card and wait for elections day, get in the polling booth and maybe look at the picture of who is the most appealing and vote. Or look at a color that they remember that this is the color I need to vote.
Do you hope that plays a part who is more appealing? Because you have a very young and, good-looking party leader.
It does. It does. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. Because appeal is just for a moment. But who you vote, whether they are appealing, whether they are young or old, now when they win, what are they going to do to impact the life and livelihood of the people that have elected them? So that's the more important thing here. Okay. Not only that. So now coming to your question in regards to why our should feel that vote for Unite.
Yes.
Now, if our is a first-time voter, I'm sure our has also been watching keenly in the political space in terms of who were before Unite has emerged. Again, the message that Unite is giving them, it's a matter of diagnosing the problem. I'm glad you mentioned our as a woman, right?
Yes.
So sitting
that
here...
That was deliberate.
Okay.
Because it's the two of them. There's a camera woman and there's a cameraman.
But
since we're talking about young people, Martin is young, by the way.
Absolutely.
And women, yeah.
But again, we're talking about the underserved, the underrepresented, and which is women. And Unite has diagnosed that problem and understand that women needs to be given the voice, women needs to be in leadership position.
Okay.
And we do that. It's like you walk the talk.
So how will our feel that she's stayed connected with Unite from 2026 to 2031? Unlike the other parties, you see them pop up with a bag of rice or whatever, all right?
Absolutely.
In 2026. Then they win the election, they disappear.
Go into hibernation.
Exactly.
And then resurface when it's election year. What we have done is we are not only a political party to canvass for votes and win elections, or if you don't win, which I believe we will win anyways, let me put that clear, but if you don't, you go back into hibernation like many other political parties. We have gone far to say, okay, we need to keep our believers engaged. We have a Unite Academy, right, where we have started since when we were a movement to inculcate this culture in our people. And this academy is not only for Unite members or supporters. Everybody, anybody that feels like they want to tap in the resources that we are putting out there or sharing. So we teach them civic education. We teach them also aspects of why Unite and why anybody should choose Unite and why Unite is different. Of course, all these issues of women underrepresented. Sometimes I say it's not their fault, because when somebody knows better, they know better. They need to understand why they need to come up and seek for positions or vie for positions to be able to also be part of the decision-making and influence, change. But if you are the backbencher, for example, perfect example, our parliament, right?
Yes.
53 parliamentarians, you only have 5 women in there. When you're talking about issues of women...
Well, actually 58 in total, huh?
53 elected and 5 nominated.
Yes.
Exactly. So in total, 58.
58, yes.
But then you have 5 women. That's a very minute percentage.
Yeah. And about what, 2 of them are nominated?
2 of them are nominated. So it's only 3 that are elected, right? For me, if I was the one, I will nominate 5. At least to give it a little bit of, to boost that representation. So when they're talking about issues of women, I see there was a time they were talking about skin bleaching. I sit and laugh and say men beating their chest and talking about skin bleaching. They're not the ones.
What about FGM? Men sitting and talking about FGM.
That's the next thing I was coming to.
It's not their bodies. Huh?
That's the next thing I was coming to. Talking about FGM, you understand? And like really, really going personal to the anatomy of the woman. I would have appreciated it more if we have a huge percentage of women in there and talk about themselves. Then us out there will relate more. And we will believe and be able to support. Okay. But men talking about it, so you see how underrepresented.
So how will this academy change this kind of mindset, for instance?
And this is what we teach them. Because people need to appreciate and understand that women, the narrative of the perception of women are only called out to be backbenchers, are called out to be married women, or be in the houses to cook, to wash, or in politics. They are the ones that does the ashabees, the cooking, the benachin. No, we need to migrate from that. But all this is a matter of education, sensitization.
And this academy will do that?
We've been doing that. Okay. It's not a plan. It is really in force.
Okay, so we've talked about women. Let's talk about young people and the actual influence they have within Unite.
Again, for example, you've talked about chemo, right? Our entire membership, it's a youth-based membership. Now, we get a lot of criticism. Some people talk about your party is just young people. You don't have elders. We have a lot of elders, right?
I know one elder. My elder.
I'm glad you say that.
Alhaji Tijan Kamara.
I'm glad you say that.
Deputy National President?
Yes.
Okay.
Deputy National
President.
President.
Behind Ibrahim Adiba.
Ibrahim Adiba, exactly. And even Uncle Tijan is not an old person. We have more older folks than Uncle Tijan.
But he is old. I am old. He is slightly older.
Yes. But when I compare to the other people, that's why I say they're much more older people behind. When we have this, we have the Council of Elders, we call it Keba Kafus, right? And these are prominent figures from all across the country, like retired civil servants, retired farmers.
Maybe you should give those more visibility.
And
because people only see the talibs, the chemos, the tombongs, the nenes. I mean, you are all young people.
But you've mentioned Uncle Tijan.
Yeah, I'm saying that's why I said give them more visibility.
Dembo Kante.
Let's hear more of Alhaji Tijan Kamara. Let's hear more of the other older ones.
The Dembo Kante, and all that. Yeah. Auntie Mariam, of course, the women also. We have a lot of women who are like the older generation who have now migrated from the old ways of politics because they can relate. And the reason why they come, they're old, but they feel that they belong, they can relate, because they can also bring in their kids, their grandkids to this generation and new type of politics and new type of way of doing politics in the
On that
Gambia.
point, what do you think young Gambians, like yourself, bring to politics that the older folk, even Barrow and Alhaji Ousainou Darboe, have not been able to bring into politics?
The world has evolved, Uncle Peter, and as such, we all need to evolve as well. When people were doing politics in 1986, 1996, and all that.
Yeah, reference to Doi and UDP. 86 was Doi.
Okay.
96 was,
Okay.
You know what the Wolof say? Tombe mo in the IGAF.
Uncle Peter, well, okay, I like it's Tombe.
Okay.
It's Tombe. It was.
Let's go on. I know you don't mean it. Yes, go
It
ahead.
wasn't deliberate. Exactly. The way they were doing politics and now is different. Again, we have social media. The coming of social media, the coming of technology, has changed things.
Particularly the dreaded AI. Exactly.
I mean, I love technology.
We didn't rehearse that before.
Yeah. We did not. I love technology, but I'm a victim of AI, but it did not change my mindset or perception that it's bad. It's just the way people use it. I mean, AI is making people millionaires, AI is making people, earning them a lot of money. So it's a good tool, and it is the young people, our age, our generation, that it has come to add to what we do. It's to impact the way we do things. So now
but there's a flip side to it as well. It's
Of
making
course.
some billionaires, zillionaires, or whatever.
Of course.
But it's driving some people to taking their own lives, for instance.
Absolutely,
Yeah?
absolutely.
Okay.
But for me, I tell people, technology, internet, and this AI.
Let's not get carried away. The question is, what do you young people bring into Gambian politics that older folks haven't been able to do?
A new type of politics, and using today's technology, to define and shape the way we do politics. Because nowadays, with all these tools, it is accessible. Access is taken to where we ourselves cannot reach, right? And again, this mentality of Gori Nyawara Defli, or is only men leading, or if you're not a certain age, you cannot get into politics, or you cannot vie for certain point, or you cannot partake, like you've asked earlier on, you cannot have decisions or opinions in political party. We have changed that narrative to fight so hard to say, you know what, when we are stakeholders, we equally need to have a say and be part of the decision making. Earlier on, those things does not happen. Decisions are made at the top and then filtered down for the lower people or the people at the bottom to implement. But that is not happening right now.
Okay, so let's turn the question around. What do young people need to learn from the older generation? Because political renewal shouldn't mean throwing away every experience, should it?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So what do young people?
And that's why I said our party is based with party base is more of young people, but of course we have a whole lot of older folks because they were there before us, and we need to learn from their wisdom. Whatever we learn from them, we harness it and make it better to fit the current generation right now. So all this civic education that we bring to the table that were not happening is really helping, and also broadening the mindset of the younger people to understand that our role is not only to vote on day of election, but we have to be stakeholders, we have to be partakers, we have to be part of the decision making to drive and shape the narrative, which was not a lot happening in the past.
Okay. Give me an example of, young people, old people in Unite, working harmoniously. When you go out to structures at the grassroots level to meet them, how do you go? Because I hear, I think when Kemo was here, he said that your party leader, Talib, had just come back from the URR, and I made a joke, oh, you're going to Barrow territory, you dare to enter Barrow territory. So when you go out there, is it mainly the young people? Is it young and old? And if young and old, I mean, the interactions, what are they like?
And since Talib has gone to URR, not the first time he's gone there, but to actively partake in politics, as an aspirant to become a president, we are of the belief that this is just a perception to make people believe that this is a Barrow territory. It's not.
Isn't it?
It's not.
He won hands down there, didn't he?
Well, that was 2021. Let's wait and see what happens in 2026.
Are you suggesting 5 years is a long time in politics?
Absolutely, it is. Even a month is a long time. And Unite went to URR. When Talib was going there, they believed like, it's a Barrow territory. Let's be careful. Where do we go and where do we not go, right? Because we are made to believe that certain areas are 100%. It's a no-go area when you go, people. But Talib went in there. They demand for Talib to go talk to them.
Oh, they asked for him to go?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because Talib went there one weekend, and then they demanded he had to go back. So if it wasn't all good, and the reception was not welcoming, he wouldn't go back. But he had to go back.
Okay. And
we're trying to find a way in the schedule for him to go back before the official campaign period opens up. But now, when Talib went there, it's a mix. You have the old people, you have the middle age, you have the young people, because they're all also interested in politics.
Okay.
And everybody wants to meet and talk to Talib about their issues, their challenges, their wishes, their aspiration, and what they would like for him to address when he comes to power.
The Kola Nut was central to the way, the old folk did their politics, all right? And I would suppose to this day, the Kola Nut is. When you go out, for instance, would you have the older folk like Tijan and this, what other guy you said?
Dembo Kante.
Dembo Kante, saying, well, let's buy Kola Nut. Once we arrive, we go to the village elder, we greet him or her. Do we still have ladies who are village elders?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So we greet him or greet her?
Yeah, I did my research and see that there are even women who are village alcalos.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So is that still the practice? Or, young people, Team Talib is coming, whether it's sent by, WhatsApp or Instagram or whatever, the usual thing. And they all converge, line the streets up, all right, and start the welcome party.
No. So now still talking about, even though the world has evolved, politics have changed, but we cannot get rid of completely the old ways. Talking about the Kola Nut here. The Kola Nut goes beyond even politics. It's a traditional thing, culture. It's not only in politics, they use it in marriages, in funerals, and all that.
Yes.
So it's a traditional thing that has been here since time
So
immemorial.
that bit of it is being preserved.
Absolutely. If you look at it, our logo, it's two palms like this, full of Kola Nut.
Yeah, true.
True. And that's a significant meaning that, yes, people term us as, a young generation of politicians, but we're telling people we know what the culture of this country is, and we're going back to that. We're not trying to get rid of that.
So you will maintain those you agree with?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Because I suppose you apart from being a woman, you would like to see, FGM gotten rid of completely in this country.
And I've advocated so.
Just to say that, I was just making the point that you would preserve, those cultures, those traditional practices that you agree with.
See, whatever is good in the past, we will harness it and make it better. Okay. You understand? And make it to conform with the current realities. Okay. But the things that did not work, definitely we will eradicate and replace it with new things. So, and that is one
part. So the colonial practice is still there. You would go and do what other, traditional practice would you maintain on your, political tours? You go with cooking pots and whatever to give to people and all of that. Some call it inducement.
They may call it inducement. So those are needs of the people that you go meet.
So you have nothing against that.
It doesn't change, because if I come to canvass for a vote for you, we go and listen to them, what their needs are, what they want, what their challenges are. So some of them will ask for it, especially rural women, because they don't have access to the urban Gambia. So they are confined. And when they have ceremonies, when they have activities, these are the things that they use, right? And when you have somebody in Garawal that you have to travel 20 kilometers to go and borrow a cooking pot to bring to use, So that's why most of these people will ask to have their own, and they will also use it to make money. It's not only to use it to cook, but they use it to rent it out. It's a form of business for most of them.
So this is to serve a whole community, not to be given to one family.
No. It's not a family thing. Most of these things are given to companies, to groups, to CAFOs, and they use it to make money. Some of them will ask you for chairs, because those places, they don't have halls that you rent. So they need those shares to rent it for activities.
I think I'll
and
take
programs.
my cue from this and start asking politicians who come here, to help us buy mixers and, new cameras and all of that.
I'm sure even if we bring it, you will not take it. I know that.
Try me. Neneh, we're coming
it.
ultimately to the end of this conversation, unfortunately. Suppose Unite suddenly finds itself exercising national political power. Taliban State House, Neneh, probably, foreign minister or what? Would the principles you are describing inside the party determine who gets appointed to government, public institutions, and other positions of responsibility?
Okay, we're a political party, but when Talib gets to government, it's no more all about Unite membership.
He would have been there as leader of a coalition, at least for 2026.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But even further than that, leader of the Gambia, both home and abroad.
Sure, like Barrow is right now.
Yes, exactly.
Well, he is.
Yes, he is the
Yes,
president.
yes.
But in paper, the president of everybody, me and you. But in practice,
okay, let's move on.
Yeah,
let's talk about Talib.
Exactly.
That's your expertise.
So
yes.
he will be the president of the entire Gambia. So now, in terms of political, in terms of positions, whatever the position may be, it has to be a broad-based approach, and for my belief, it should be based on competence. When you see this current government, you have a minister who has no business or no formal education, experience, or has even never worked in a sector, being the leader of that sector, then you need not ask why that sector is not thriving, is failing.
We have a minister who has no formal education.
I can give you a perfect example.
Give an example.
Agriculture.
He's a doctor, for heaven's sake.
Doctor of what?
Whatever. They call him doctor.
Well, okay, I like it when you say they call him doctor.
Yeah.
They call him doctor doesn't make him a doctor.
Well, okay, he studied nursing, we understand, at the American University.
So somebody who's not even a farmer, right? Somebody who has not...
He says he doesn't have to be a farmer. He just has to understand the policy.
And that is his limited understanding of the role that he has.
Let's not make this conversation about Demba Sabali.
No,
right.
It's not about him. I'm just giving you an example of why it has to be a broad-based approach. And appointments has to be based on competence. And somebody who is the leader, right, of any position in a Unite government has to be able to drive that and bring about change. The people that you served, their lives has to be impacted in one way or the other. Not because you are a Unite supporter or that you are a Unite believer, that's the reason why you will be appointed. Okay. I, for one, will be opposed to that. I, for one, will advocate against that.
If Talib wins and doesn't make you a minister or an ambassador or any, high-profile position, you wouldn't be offended if you feel that, the holders of all these other positions, any of which you might have, cherished, are just as equally qualified as yourself.
Well, more qualified than myself.
Okay.
Because I will give it up for somebody who is more qualified
Only
than
somebody
myself,
who is more qualified.
Somebody who is more competent, somebody who's more experienced.
Okay.
Because my belief is not about my personality, but about the people that we will be serving. So definitely I will have no problem with that. And I will expect that of every other position in the Unite. And I believe that is the belief of the party leader. That is the belief of the membership of Unite. I told you, we have believers, not only followers and supporters.
I was going to say, sad we are having this conversation on a Friday because Friday is very limiting as far as, the program is concerned because at 9 o'clock, the religious program should begin. Final question. If we invite you back 5 years from now and ask, what did Unite actually change about the way women, young people, and ordinary Gambians participate in political power? What would you want to be able to point to?
I will come back here and tell you that when I was here 5 years ago, we talked about having 5 women in the parliament.
Having only 5 women.
Only 5 women in parliament and 3 elected. Now we are talking about having 20-something women in parliament. Oh, yes. We'll be counting 20-something women and counting in parliament, at least at the barest minimum. I can sit here and tell you that in cabinet, we have, I think, 3 women right now, more than 20 people 20.
Is it 3 or 2? I know Fatoumata Kinte and the...
Fatoumata Kinte, Habibatu.
Okay, Habibatu, yes.
Exactly.
And the environment.
And the environment,
yes.
Manjang,
yes.
3, exactly. And I can sit here and tell you in cabinet, let's say for 20, for example, 20, we have 12 or 13 or 15 women in cabinet.
That would be lovely.
Exactly. I will sit here and tell you that we have about 12 or so parastatal, none of the leaders in those places is a woman. And I can tell you, we'll be able to sit here and tell you that out of 12 or 15, we have 10 or 9 women heading those parastatals. And for far too long, we've not had women head those institutions.
Fantastic.
And those are the things that I will be able to sit here and tell you this is the change we have made as a government to make women feel that they are a part of everything.
I'm sure many Gambians would agree with you. Neneh, thank you so very much for coming. As I said, sad that we are talking on a Friday. It should have been a Monday or a Tuesday.
I want to come back. We talk about
women. We will bring you back.
Yeah.
And there you have it, our conversation with Neneh Freda Gomez of Unite.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
If you're an entrepreneur and your business is not yet registered, if you're looking to grow your registered business, or you're an accomplished professional, our Elevate program supports you with access to finance, access to markets, access to capacity building. Sign up now or refer a friend at ecobank.com/elevate. Elevate by EcoBank. A better way, a better Africa.
Yëpp lay fay. Sant yàlla. looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.